The Mk4 Volkswagen Golf was a very normal car. It was a bit posher and a bit bigger than the Mk3 it replaced, and it took Volkswagen a step higher in the market. But even the GTI wasn't enormously exciting. But in 2002, they threw the entire VAG parts bin at it. This is a Volkswagen Golf R32. A few years before, the little Audi TT was launched and really started to cement Audi's reputation. The Golf and TT share the same platform, and some bright spark thought they'd put all the expensive bits from the TT into the humble Golf. Here is a 3.2 litre VR6 four-wheel drive Golf. Now in 2020 that all sounds a little bit normal. After all, the Golf R has been a massive success. But in 2002, the world was only just coming to grasps with it. Ford had launched the Focus RS, and born was a small class of fast family cars. There were the thoroughbred four-wheel drive rally cars from Mitsubishi and Subaru, then lower down the new Volkswagen, and the front-wheel drive entrants from Ford and Alfa Romeo. Despite the Mk4 being a very good car, it just wasn't quite exciting enough. But a wider body, bigger wheels, bigger bumpers, side skirts and twin exhausts finally gave it some serious presence. It didn't go full tasteless though. It's still a premium looking car rather than something a yob would drive. Unlike a lot of cars of its time, especially performance cars, it has aged brilliantly. It wasn't the first time that Volkswagen had smashed a big engine in a Golf. They did it back in '91. Car magazine exclaiming that they'd beaten BMW, but the whole idea never really caught on back then. It took the disappointment of the Mk4 GTI, the addition of four-wheel drive and all those body modifications to make it really stand out. Let's dive in and have a look at what makes the R32 special. The biggest bit is of course that 3.2 litre VR6 engine. If you don't know what VR6 means, well, it's basically a V6 stood pretty much upright at 15 degrees with both banks in one block and a single cylinder head. It produces 237 brake horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. It's a very different experience to the boosty boys we see in today's Golf R. So, gorgeous V6 noises, like really good, and naturally aspirated power delivery. And as we move our way down the car, there's either a 6-speed manual or the debut of the brilliant, if slightly fragile, DSG, then the Haldex four-wheel drive system from the TT. Holding it all together is an independent rear end and the TT's quicker steering rack. Making it stop are 13.1-inch discs under those big 18-inch wheels at the front. The result is 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. What makes the R32 special isn't just about what's underneath, but it's also inside. It gets a lot of exclusive bits like these leather heated bucket seats, the leather steering wheel, all the brushed aluminium, the R badges, and also the pedals. It's all about that sense of occasion rather than just concentrating on pure speed. It comes into Volkswagen pushing themselves slightly more upmarket, like I've mentioned. That makes the Golf quite a bit more premium than its competitors. It's not quite as mad as an Alfa 147 GTA or as performance driven as a Focus RS, but it's probably a nicer car all round to live with. So, apart from that, it's pretty standard Golf Mk4, so it's quite a nice place to be. Everything feels really, really nice. Everything feels well put together, even if this example isn't absolutely 100%. I especially like all the brushed aluminium on the R32. It just brings the interior up a little bit, because if it didn't have that, it might feel a little bit too dark with all the black everywhere. But it's still a really nice place to be. Again, everything feels nice. You have automatic climate control in this one. You have your standard Volkswagen CD player from the time, but in the glove box there is a CD changer thing. I haven't found a CD changer in this car, but maybe it has one, I don't know. And then your controls, and you see the button here that says ESP. This car has stability control and traction control, and for the time, for 2002, they were really quite well developed. They were very sophisticated systems. We also have the controls for the heated seats that I'm sat in now, which are very buckety, and you do sit quite low, although I think, yes, it is height adjustable, but you really do sink into this seat. Again, the steering wheel leather. The leather on the steering wheel doesn't quite feel as high quality, but really hard wearing nonetheless. The steering wheel is also ergonomically designed. It's really nice to hold, even if the design itself isn't the most pleasing in the world. Again, you get a little R badge at the bottom there, which is nice. The stalks are standard Golf Mk4. There's nothing much more to say about it. Obviously, indicators on your left, your flash and your main beam, and also your cruise control. At least yes, I'm pretty sure that's cruise control anyway. And then the right, you have your wipers, so down is mist, and then you have intermittent first speed and second speed, intermittent control on top, and your rear wiper control as well. It all just feels really well put together, and it feels like a really nice place to be. Unlike a lot of even its competitors as well, even cars with the same kind of price point, not as necessarily as the R, but as the standard Golf Mk4, aren't as nicely appointed as this inside. The controls for your lights are obviously on the right hand side. You do get automatic lights on this one, which is a nice feature to have. And what else do you get? Storage, yes. A few little cubby holes everywhere. Again, a little brushed aluminium lid for the ashtray down there. You have nice wide door pockets. Glove box isn't massive, but it's alright nonetheless. And the dashboard isn't completely flat as well. It's not completely featureless. It's all angled slightly to the driver. There are a couple of little curves on it. It's just nice. Oh, you also get a sunroof on the R32, which is a must-have because it's a sunroof and they're the best things ever. And as I mentioned before, the 6-speed gearbox. Now, I'm not sure whether this one has had a short shift kit fitted or something like that. It is modified in a couple of ways, one of them being the exhaust. It's got a new grille. What else was that? I can't quite remember, but it's modified in a couple of ways. And the throw is really short, and it notches into gear really nicely. And again, 6-speed gearbox on this one. You could also have the DSG. This was the first production car to ever have the now world famous DSG gearbox. As fragile as they may be, they are brilliant. But yeah, this is a really nice, notchy but positive gear change. That's really awesome. And it just feels, compared to a standard Mk4 Golf, the seats especially make you feel right at home. The driving position is pretty much perfect. To say the steering wheel is slightly over to your right hand side, but it just feels like it wants to be driven. It feels everything is just right, and that's the best thing you can say really when you're struggling for any way to criticise or anything like that. It just shows that the car's been really well put together and really well designed, and the seats are mega comfortable. Maybe these bolsters here, which you can see I'm, especially when I come down to change gear, I do smash into a little bit. The seats are fantastic. I love them. Love them. Now in the back it's a little bit more disappointing, because as much as the Mk4 Golf is actually quite a big car compared to its predecessors, it's not very big in the back. This one is 3-door, R32, you'd expect that, and it looks all the better for it. But there isn't so much room in the back. That seat is in my driving position, and owing to how thick it is because of its bucketiness and leatheriness and all that kind of stuff, there is no room. I wouldn't be very comfortable back here on a much longer journey if the driver was my size. If the driver was a lot shorter than me and the seat could be moved forward, then it would be okay, because the seats are lovely. You get these cool R logos imprinted stitched into the leather, which is really nice. And the headrests are nice as well, and it's quite airy back here. As much as the rear windows are tinted, there's a lot of glass area around you, so you don't feel hemmed in. It's just that seat, which is really annoying, and made even worse by the fact that there are no distinct headrests to the front seats. They are built into the bucket, so you might feel a little bit claustrophobic back here after a while, but if the driver was a bit shorter, then it would be okay. So there you go, the Mk4 Golf R32. While putting a big engine in the front of a Golf naturally has its downsides in terms of weight, there is a good reason as well that the modern Golf R has a turbo 4-pot. I am very pleased it happened. It might not match the Focus or the Subaru in the corners, but it's a car with a genuinely premium feel and an amazing soundtrack. It's just special. Big engine, small car, all-wheel drive. What's not to love? If you enjoyed it, please click like on the video and even subscribe as well, and I'll have another one coming along soon.